If Ganondorf's wish to bring back Hyrule did not get interrupted in the finale of The Wind Waker, what would have happened to Hyrule, Link, Zelda, and Ganon himself? What's up my homies, it's Edible Incredible, and today I'll be theorizing into the potential outcomes of Ganondorf's wish. The first thing that I've been debating in my head is whether or not the complete Triforce would have turned Ganondorf into Ganon. The downfall timeline begins in this fashion. After defeating Link at the end of Ocarina of Time, he obtained the entire Triforce. Before being sealed away by the sages, he transformed into a demonic beast. However, in The Wind Waker, he used Puppet Ganon instead of becoming a monster himself. I don't feel like he lost the ability to become Ganon over the years of being sealed, but he instead crafted the strategy of Puppet Ganon, probably because I'd assume the transformation into Ganon uses a ton of energy. In Ocarina of Time, it appeared as if he used the Triforce of Power to transform. In The Wind Waker, he still has the Triforce of Power, and if he laid his hands on the complete Triforce, the entire thing would have stayed with him, reminiscent to A Link to the Past. Keep in mind though, the Wind Waker Ganondorf could have killed Link on 3 separate occasions. His true intentions were not to kill, but just to rule Hyrule once more. Because of this, I feel his heart was actually in balance. In Ocarina, once he touched the Triforce for the first time, it split to its rightful owners, due to Ganondorf's heart not being in balance. His intentions back then were purely evil, killing the innocent without any hesitation. But after being sealed in the evil realm and then beneath the Great Sea, his motives began to change. In Ocarina, he murdered without any second thought to reach his desires. Prior to the events of The Wind Waker, sure he killed the sages, but if he didn't, he knew the next hero would have an easy time killing him with the Master Sword being at full strength. So it was a must to survive, not an act of hatred. In The Wind Waker, he only intends to kill Link once the King of Hyrule makes his wish for Link and Zelda's future, and to end the life of the King of Evil, forcing Ganon to fight for his life. In this scenario, I'd imagine he'd become the monster we've seen him over and over again, Ganon. But he didn't. He knew this incarnation of Link and Zelda were just playing their part. He didn't truly hold anything against them. On the other hand, the King of Hyrule was the one to interrupt his plans yet again. Now, back to the what if. So, Ganondorf lays his hand on that which grants the wishes of the beholder. First, the obvious. The sun burns away the sea and allows Hyrule to prosper once more. But this time with Ganondorf as its king, similar to his 7-year reign during Ocarina. But I don't think it would be a world consumed by monsters. Instead, I'd imagine a peaceful place void of death. This is previously why I brought up Ganondorf in The Wind Waker having a balanced heart. He longs for the days of old, but not exactly how it used to be. Ruling with an iron fist wouldn't be his forte this go around. Being sealed with nothing but his thoughts forced him to extract his evil ways to encourage a better future for not just himself, but for his people too. This is shown in his speech to Toon Link, bringing up his old home of the Gerudo Desert, and how rough they had it. Displays how he still cares about the Gerudo even though they got entirely wiped out by the Great Flood, but he's nowhere near as selfish as he once was. I believe he wants to rule Hyrule again, but in peace. Now, back to whether or not he would become Ganon. Prior to A Link to the Past, the complete Triforce is what transformed him into Ganon, and he stays in his beast form for the rest of the downfall timeline. I believe it would do the same thing in this alternate ending to The Wind Waker. However, he would be able to summon his human form whenever, since his heart is nowhere near as twisted as it once was. Because of this, a sudden rampage into Ganon would actually be controllable. In Twilight Princess, we see this. After the beast battle, he's able to return to his Gerudo form. So it is possible, but in Twilight Princess, his intentions are still filled with hatred, specifically towards the Hylians, since they of course attempted to execute him. Back to The Wind Waker. If his wish was granted and then the Triforce turned him into Ganon, would Toon Link and Zelda have any chance against him? Well, of course. Remember, they have the light arrows, which is one of his only weaknesses, and the fully powered Master Sword. Sure, Link wouldn't have his Triforce of Courage, but he's already proved himself as the hero. I'm gonna bring up A Link to the Past one more time. In that game, the hero was able to vanquish Ganon, who held the complete Triforce. So yes, even if Ganondorf's wish was granted, I feel Toon Link, who was just off of proving himself to the gods, would be able to defeat Ganon. So what's after that? Well, Hyrule would still be destined to return, but with their king already dead. So I'd assume Link and Zelda would scatter the seeds of the future, and bring their own kind of peace to Hyrule. So that's my theory. Remember, this is a big what if, but I felt it was pretty interesting to dive into. Hope you enjoyed me brainstorming about an alternate ending to one of my favorite games. I've always wondered, what if Ganondorf got his wish granted? And well, you've heard me talk about this long enough. Now I seriously want to hear from you. In your opinion, what would the outcome be in this scenario? Until my next Zelda Theory, I hope you have a good one. And stay hype, my homie. Peace.